Hey there, gorgeous! Hope you're having a fabulous day. It is such a pleasure to see you. In today's video, I'm sharing 2 application methods with you for applying your powder products so they look luminous and radiant on the skin. And the best part is they will not fall apart. If you don't like that overly mattified look, perhaps you like to lighten things up and have a more skin-like finish, you will adore the methods I have to share with you here today. So before I show you the 2 techniques that I want to share with you today, I am going to apply a concealer underneath my eyes. I'm using the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind today. I have also already applied my moisturizer to my face. I used the e.l.f. Daily Hydration today. And details on my eyes will be below for you in the description box if you're curious about what I'm wearing there today. The best powders to use with this kind of technique are loose powders. The compact powders may be a little bit more difficult because you're not going to want to use them for the technique I'm showing you here. And you'll see why here in a second. So the powder that I'm using is from Bare Minerals. This is one of their mineral foundations. Shade that I'm using is Fair 01. Now what I like to do is take a little bit of the product and dump it out onto something like a paper plate. I'm using a makeup palette here. This is something that you traditionally would mix makeup on, and spread it out so it's a little even on whatever you're using. And then take a damp sponge, pick up some of the product, and you don't want to pack it on, you just want to have a very small amount, and then begin to lightly tap it onto the skin and then blend it all together. And the trick with this is that you don't want to pack it on and you don't want to concentrate it into one area. So in other words, you don't want to take a big bunch of product onto the sponge directly like boom, and then just go boom, and then try to spread it around from there. The idea is to apply it sparingly around the face and then rely on the sponge itself to blur everything together. And that's what gives you that skin-like finish. And it's beautiful. Flawless, even coverage, not cakey, very skin-like. I am going to show you on this side how it looks when you apply it with a traditional brush. So I'm going to take more of that mineral powder foundation and just apply it like I usually would on this side. This side is beautiful too, but there is a very noticeable difference between the 2 sides, and I'll zoom you in a little closer here so you can see what I am focused in on. You see how this side looks very filterized? I mean, it's a beautiful finish, it is, and it looks flawless, but if you look real closely at the skin, it looks overly matte. It looks cakey. I mean, it's not cakey from the perspective of looking bad, but it's like you can tell I have makeup on my face. I mean, obviously you can tell I have makeup on this side of my face too, but what I like about this side is that you can see my freckles peeking through. You can see my skin still, whereas this side looks more like not so skin-like to me. Still beautiful nonetheless, but if you do struggle with texture issues in the skin, you may notice that applying it like this can bring those texture issues out as opposed to applying it with a damp sponge. Now, if you want added dewiness to your powder foundations, you can also apply a hydrating mist over the top, which will give more luminosity to the skin. And I'll do that here with the LA Girl Hydrating Mist. And even with that small amount of hydrating mist applied over the top of the powder, you can see that the skin is looking radiant, it's youthful, it's fresh looking, but it's not over the top dewy. It's not going to fall apart. I know for those of us with oily skin, it's the last thing that we want is sometimes we don't want our skin to look like an oil slick. And I feel like this method eliminates that concern, but still gives your skin a youthful look to it, and it will not fall apart. As opposed to this side again, which still beautiful, but it's very matte And that can have an aging effect, especially as we get older. These are just things that I am learning myself that I want to share with you that have made such a difference in, I feel like, how my makeup looks and how it lasts on my skin. And I've started to really appreciate this kind of finish more as opposed to this finish that I really enjoyed when I was younger. Another method for giving you that skin-like finish with powder products is to apply it in the way that I just showed. So I'll go ahead and do that real quickly here. And then take a moisturizer, any kind. I am using the e.l.f. Holy Hydration Hydro Gel Moisturizer here today. You want to take a very, very small amount. You do not need much at all. And the way that you apply this, you apply it over the top of the powder foundation. I usually will put it on my fingertips like this, so it's evenly distributed, and then lightly tap it over your skin. And you can either blend it in with your fingers like I'm doing here, or you can go back with the damp sponge and blend it in like that too. I find that my fingers makes for the best application. It looks the best only because the sponge can move the powder around a little bit more and can pick it up and put it in places where you really don't want to be moving it to. Whereas this gives you a very luminous look to the skin without disturbing the product. And there you can see what it looks like after I have blended in the moisturizer. Very skin-like, really beautiful on the skin. And it doesn't look cakey, it doesn't look, you know, it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it has a little bit more luminosity as opposed to the first application method that I showed you earlier. And you can see between the two sides there. Really beautiful way to apply your powder foundation so it looks like skin and it's not cakey or too mattified. If you found these tips helpful today, please give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to share it with a friend who may also be able to use these tips in their own makeup routine. And I want to say thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to watch. I speak love, light, peace, and joy into you and into your home. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon.